You take chocolate as a donation?
Get paid in chocolate. I try to, last thing I need is to be eating chocolate.
There we go.
Get your environment set up, have you?
Yeah, I need to get a whole brand new setup, I think. I just got to do too much to get this or maybe I just need a new app. Anyways, I was hoping to whiteboard. I don't think it's going to happen today, so we're going to be just using your spreadsheet, yeah?
For the most part, but I know you're like a Pace Junior. You love the whiteboard. You want to be more tactile.
Yeah, that's fine. So what do you think? We should open up to questions real quick, or let some of these late knuckleheads populate in while we answer a few quick questions?
Been questions for quite a while. Where are you been?
Well, if you have a question, folks, please raise your hand to make it easy for me to find you.
Yeah. Okay. Jermaine Wilson, boom, right away. This guy's motivated. Let's get him in here.
Oh, that's Robert.
Jermaine, what's up, dude?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Currently, I am fantastic.
All right, awesome. So I hope that you can stay fantastic after I give you this property.
Okay.
What are we doing with this property, Jermaine? Hey, if you can turn on your camera.
Oh yeah, 1 second. Let me get some light on.
Jermaine,
yeah, and while he's doing that, guys,
sitting in the dark.
While he's doing that, as a reminder, guys, I wouldn't be making what I'm making today unless I made myself known in the groups that I, have joined. I met Gary basically by being a squeaky wheel and saying, hey, I'm trying to do deals, and we connected, and I literally attribute to my success very largely to hanging out with Gary, and none of that would have happened unless I put my full name in the area where your name is indicated. Okay, guys, so full name, cameras on if you're talking to us. What's up, Jermaine?
Hey, all right. So I found this property on the New Jersey's foreclosure list. Like it's gonna go to auction. Let me give you the exact September 5th. So okay. I tried to cold call them. I didn't get an answer. I realized that it looks like it was a transfer of deed for $0. So I guess it went through probate most likely. And now we are here because I'm about to go door knock them. But I try to actually look up comps, like doing what we were going through last week. And the biggest problem I'm having is that I can't get any comps on this property. Like, okay, so basically the whole neighborhood just seems like realtors don't do their job or something.
So it's a low trading area. So I have a few quick questions for you. Number one, what's your exit strategy?
I think it would probably be wholesaling it because it looks like there's a decent spread. They owe $349,000. That's the upset amount, at least. That's what they're showing on the foreclosure site. And I want to say that if I'm basing off of like what I've seen for homes within that range fixed up is $455,000.
Okay, so it's not low equity, but it's on the lower side of equity.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying they owe $3, it's probably worth $5. Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking, yeah, close to like $5 if it's fixed up. Yeah.
So if we take just those numbers alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said 350?
Yeah, that's what they owe.
Okay, so assuming that the ARV, the after repair value, or the retail value is that 500, you're at 70% ARV already without really touching reno or closing costs or anything, right?
Okay.
So it's probably not going to be a cash deal just by the numbers that you're giving me. I don't know if we're missing anything here, but just if I were to do a quick shotgun analysis, it doesn't sound like a cash deal.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to, I mean, I don't know if you want to share an address with us. We could do a deeper dive or.
I'll drop it in here. I have to step away 1 second. I have a phone call I have to take. Oh, sorry about that. I'm very sorry.
No, I'll tell you what. We'll come back to you when you're done closing deals.
Okay. All right. But I put it in the chat.
Okay, no problem. We'll come back to you.
Cindy, let's talk to Cindy.
What's
Hi,
up, girl?
everyone. I'm new here. I actually have been with Don and Mike. I'm a baby elephant for a couple of weeks, and I think one of you guys popped on their call because
Yeah.
you're from California. So that's really why I'm here. And so I don't waste anyone's time. Do you guys have lists that you work off of? Do you have something in your group that I know how this works? Do all groups work the same? I guess that's really my question.
That's a great question. So no, all groups do not work the same.
Okay.
So Gary and I, Gary, if you don't mind, I'll kind of do my.
Just speak for me. Go ahead, Patrick.
No, so Gary's been doing this way before I have, way more
Okay.
consistent, has done way more of these Zooms. And so from my experience of just the handful that I've done, we've kind of just been doing Q&A in specific topics. However, Gary and I just recently met, and we're going to really dial in what we're talking about in terms of cash and creative deals. And then we're going to be giving you resources specifically on how to close those types of deals. We're also going to be adding another Zoom on Monday, right, Gary, at 3 p.m.?
We didn't set a time, but we're going to add another Zoom every week to focus on landing deals.
Yeah, the only other time it would work for me would be 3 p.m. But we'll announce that for you guys. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is creating a course, just a really quick free course for you guys that you guys can log into and get started with your businesses. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Today is like the last day where we're kind of just spitballing, and that's kind of what we're doing today. Is we're going to be covering underwriting today, but we're going to have more themes specifically to focus on and more resources for you guys to actually be taking action. And that's the biggest thing that we want you guys to do, is actually be jumping in and taking action. So,
but how do we benefit you? Are we cold calling for you, or are you guys doing the same thing that the others guys do as far as lists and stuff? Or
yeah, I love how Gary.
is that a dumb question?
No, that's not a dumb question. Guys, there are no dumb questions. The only dumb question that you can ask is something that's already been answered. Okay. So if you're not paying attention, you got to pay attention. You got to engage with us. So can you re-ask your question again?
Yeah. So I'm a sales rep. I'm a cold caller. That's all I
Love
do.
it.
I actually have another business. So what I'm trying to figure out is, how do I get in here? And I thought it would be a great entry level as I'm learning to do,
Yep.
find
How do I
deals.
make money? How do you make money with us?
That is correct. Immediately while I'm learning. How do I benefit you? Is
Love it.
also, right?
Yeah. So everyone's at different stages, right? A lot of people are asking, hey, how do I join your team? And really, I don't have an onboarding for that yet. I'm working on it. So it would slow us down in our current operations to bring people on. However, you guys can make money with us, and this is how. Generally speaking, most people are at a beginning level, right? So they're just like, what do I do? Right. And like, great, taking action is the first thing. Obviously, you have a background, so you're probably a little bit more advanced than that. So bringing us qualified leads is the first step. We're going to have a form for you guys to actually fill out. And what a qualified lead is basically somebody who's interested in selling, and you have 4 points of information. You know what type of condition the property is in. You have the price and whether or not they're firm on that, a timeline, right? And motivation. Why are they selling? So those are the 4 pillars. You can add on another one, and occupancy is really important as well. That also has to do with timeline. So if you can bring us those 4 to 5 points, as well as an address and a motivated seller, now we have a lead. Okay, if we have, Gary, can you do me a favor while I'm talking? Can you pull up that sheet, the elephant compensation
And you
sheet?
guys are good with this going in differently. Obviously, if someone gives me a list, I already know how that works. I would never touch that. They give us lists that goes to those guys, those sub 2 leaders. We can go on different groups is what I'm saying. I just didn't know how it worked.
Yeah, you
Correct?
can go on different groups. As soon as you have a lead and you go to an elephant leader and you say, hey, I want you to work with me on this lead, that's who
okay.
you're working with on that lead, right? And so we're in very close contact with the other elephant leaders. And so what we don't want is that we don't want you going to another elephant leader and being like, hey, I've got this deal. And then they start spending their bandwidth and energy on that. And then you come to us and you're kind of double ending it at that point, where that's not how we want to operate. Okay. So if you have a lead, if you have something that's motivated, and maybe you made that initial call and you got the 4 pillars, right? That's great. Bring it to us. We'll work with you. We'll have a form for you. If you have it under contract, that's a whole different ballgame. where we will do a joint venture contract with you, and we will actually help you we will either be the buyer or we'll help you find one. And full disclosure, guys, if we feel like we cannot help you, we will immediately point you in the right direction. Okay, we won't tie you guys up on these deals. There are very tight and important timelines as realtors, and realtor documents express time is of the essence. Okay, Gary, do you want to take this up? You want to explain what we're looking at? Ooh, they made it pretty. Gary, you're on mute, bud. I was hoping he was going to save my voice.
No, you go ahead and speak to this.
All right, guys.
You're in the, you know,
Gary's going to make me work today. So this is pretty self-explanatory, guys. So these are payouts, and the reason that this was created is that we wanted something uniform. We didn't want you guys to be like, bidding elephant leaders against each other and really tying us up if it doesn't make sense for each leader. So payout $500. Elephant dispo deal. It's a 70-30 split. Payout max is $3,000. So what does that mean? That means that if you dispo stands for disposition. That means if you have something under contract and you need us to find a buyer for it, the split is going to be 70-30. We get 30% of your assignment fee. If we renegotiate the deal, it's $1,000 payout. If we turn it into creative, or we get a lower price. Okay. All right. Baby elephants, boots on the ground. If that means that if you're on the ground and you're taking pictures, you're showing the property to buyers, or if you're putting a sign in the yard, if that applies, sometimes that's for like other strategies, but you will get paid an extra $500. Okay. Let me be clear here. I thought we had a lawyer working on this, and clearly they have not looked at this. Let me be clear. That $500 is paid out at close. Okay. So just because you show up and you take pictures and you walk property doesn't mean that you're going to get paid out immediately. Okay.
or you're going to get paid at all.
Correct. Right. Baby elephant is provided at list. Payout is $1,000. Boots on the ground, $500. I think that's the same thing. I don't know why they put that in there twice.
What, same thing? Oh, no, it's just it's just to point out that boots on the ground is an add-on to any kind of deal.
Yeah, it seems a little okay. Anyways, and then the last one is if you bring a buyer. So if you actually find a buyer for the deal, you'll make an extra $1,000. Okay, so max payout on a deal is around $4,000. Now, I will say this. I'm going to say it. Screw it. I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble or not, but I will say this. If you guys show potential, like if you're bringing me multiple deals, you're going to get my attention, and I'm going to be like, who is this person? And I'm going to want to know who you are and possibly put you on my team. Then if that's the case, you're going to make more. Okay. I have my disposition manager, for example, he's going to be quitting his W-2 soon. So that's the kind of money that we're making. Okay. Does this all make sense, or do you guys have any questions? I'm looking at the chat.
All right, yeah, it makes sense. So guys, I just want you to know, I do not run a wholesale business. I am a licensed agent, and what I do is I specialize in helping people do creative deals. So if you have, and because I work under my license, I only do deals in California, but I'm doing 2 or 3 creative deals with other people, mostly sub-2 students, but every once in a while, baby elephant or people that have just been referred to me. And so you can bring me your creative deals if you find one, then I can help you get it across the finish line. And I like to write the contracts. So let's from the moment you get the verbal agreement on a deal in California, come to me.
Can you pin me,
And
please?
I don't take a big chunk of your deal. I just take a fixed fee.
Gary's worth, I would say 10 times what he actually charges. Can you pin me, please?
You are pinned.
I'm pinned?
Yes. Go to the speaker view.
No, I'm not pinned. I'm only seeing you.
You are certainly pinned.
And you know what? I can't get enough of that face. I'll tell you what,
Here, I'll unpin you and repin you and see if that helps.
we're having pinning problems, people. All right, guys.
All right, I'm gonna remove the pin. Now I have to go find you. Raise your hand, damn it.
Oh man, are we having these types of issues? Where is it in reactions? I don't ever raise my hand. 'Cause I'm
Yeah,
always,
it's reactions. Raise your hand. I have to go hunting for you.
I can't find it. I don't ever raise my hand in Zooms.
Reactions, raise hand.
I'm looking at it. Oh, here it is.
It's right there. There you go. Now I'll pin you.
Okay.
again.
Sorry for wasting
You
your
see
guys'
yourself
time.
being pinned now?
I don't, but I don't care. Let's move on. All right. Anybody else have a question? Let's go. Let's just cover these guys real fast, and then we'll go into underwriting. Zoom user. I think you missed the part where I said you should put your name inside of your thing. You must have sneezed. What's up, dude? What's up, Zoom user?
Are you done, Cindy, with your question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yes,
thought I
the only other question I had was how to contact you. Do you guys have, I just went on to the website. I don't see, where do I get you guys if I have stuff? Is there lead forms?
We're gonna create a lead form for you, but for now, hit us up in Circle and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
And
that's all.
everybody can see my phone numbers attached to my name.
Gary's
Got
crazy.
it.
You can text me, and that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
You know, you actually can only see partial, but I'll figure it out. Let me see. if I can
Here.
find you.
Let me say.
Gary, there you are. No. I just went to chat.
Now you
everyone
can
and
see it.
found
Nick.
one.
I just put my name in the chat and you can harvest, you can see it right there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Makes it easier. Okay. So who's
Look at
next?
that. Brandon
Here,
snaps too. He
Brandon.
immediately changed his
Brandon at
name.
least has a first name.
God, look at that, dude. He just boom right there. What's up, dude?
Sorry, I didn't.
I immediately feel connected to you now. What's up?
I logged on my phone this time. So I was on Carly's Zoom earlier today, actually, and they were doing some like real estate realtor calls.
Cool.
So I actually did a few in my market. I live here in Louisville, Kentucky, and gotten to a point where the lady was literally stressing that she needs a certain price because I got her to admit that she needs that they need a DTI to buy a new home. And I was trying to explain stuff to it, how it would take it off their DTI and everything else. But she started to lose it, and I could tell I was losing it. I was like, let me have my partner call you back tomorrow or the next day. And I was like, what do I do there? Like,
Yeah, that's an advanced question. It's a good question too. So generally how I describe it is that once we can prove that the note is being serviced, it will reduce the DTI anywhere from 75% to the first year to 100 in the second. But I will say this, speaking with a mortgage loan originator, it depends. It depends on the lender. And so what's really helpful for you guys, if you guys are working in a specific state, what you guys should do, and I wish I would have done this earlier, is make contact with a mortgage loan originator who does creative stuff. Make contact with a lawyer.
how do you find someone that does that?
You got to be a squeaky wheel. How did I find
You just
Gary?
call a bunch of people and be like, hey, are you familiar with any creative financing deals? Or
I would say blind. I would call it blind assumptions or subject to purchases, and just say
They're non-qualified assumptions, but we're talking about DTI,
Yeah.
right? Recapturing the DTI. That
Yep.
is no lawyer is going to be able to help you with that.
well, no. I'm talking about networking and finding people in your state that know
Right.
specific things in specific
All
places.
right, but this is going to there's no guarantee that every lender will let her have her DTI back. Every lender is going to be different. The truth is that it may be a problem for her if they need their DTI. It may not be the best solution for them. Most of the people that we do substitute deals with, either they've got tons of money and the DTI doesn't matter to them, or they're crashing and burning with a foreclosure. So foreclosures by far, the pain of going through foreclosure far outweighs the pain of not being able to get a loan for a little while. So right now, getting out of a loan is more important than getting into another one. So keep that in mind, that you don't make promises that may not be true. because you can, you get yourself into trouble that way. So there's no guarantee that they can recapture the DTI. People with marginal credit may not be able to, but it's going to vary lender by lender, and it will also depend on the lending climate. How easy it is to get a loan in this period of time. Right now, it doesn't look like it's really hard for people to get loans. It's just people are challenged by the interest rates and qualifying for the payments. So now, if they definitely to go out and get another house right away, sub 2 may not be a good solution for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I want to, just before I let you go, I want to outline one thing that he said that many of you here may have heard, but it's not probably sinking in how it should. The most important pillar out of the 4 is motivation. So how motivated are they to actually sell that house, right? Do they need to? And if they need to, then creative might be an option. If they're downsizing or they found a new house that they like better, it's not high motivation, right? So I mention these things because I'm at a point now in my career where I got to make decisions like this, because if I spend too much time on something, I'm losing money over here. Does that make sense? And creative deals take a lot of time and energy, right? So I think what he said was really important about motivation. How motivated are they? If they're super, super motivated, they're open to it, then you can get on the phone with a lender and you can start navigating it. But it's going to be a lot of time wasted unless they are. Does that make sense, Brandon?
Follow up, Brandon?
Yeah, my dog started barking in the background. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think, would it just not be worth my time to follow up, or should I just have follow up and see if it would even be an option, or
Why are they selling their house?
It's been on the market for 90 days and they've been trying to get rid of it so they can buy another.
So why are they selling? Because they want to purchase another house?
Yeah.
That's not, to me, that doesn't sound like a high level of motivation.
Do
They've
they
got
have to
zero.
relocate? Do they have
they've
to
got-
relocate
yeah.
for a job, or are they active duty military and they're being redeployed at 3,000 miles away?
It is a VA loan, so I don't know. I didn't get that far in the conversation.
So you gotta-
So you got to find the motivation.
Yep.
Well, I talked to the realtor.
Right, you're talking to the agent. Well, then you got to cozy up with the agent and say, look, I'm trying to figure out if this is going to be a good solution for them. It may not be, honestly. And you want to be really open about that this may be a godsend or it could be a nightmare. It just may not work. Are they moving because they have to move? Or are they moving because they want to move? If it's strictly, I want to move, then write out the market, and see if you can get your house sold. But chances are they're asking too much money. If they have a nice house and it's not selling, then chances are they're asking too much money. But
Right.
I just recently did a sub-2 deal with a military couple. They're both active duty, and they had bought a house not far from where I live here, and it's a beautiful house, and they got redeployed to Okinawa. And they had a low down payment VA loan, and the property values, they didn't own it very long. The property values dropped a little, and the best solution in the world was for them to sub to it. Now, it also helped that the husband was a bit of a real estate investor himself, so it wasn't a total foreign concept to him to do something creative, because he has cash flowing units in another state. So you really need to understand the motivation. And if it's not the right thing for them, then don't push it. Move on to the next one. Keep your relationship with the realtor and say, just make sure that agent knows, hey, I'm here if you're in a tough bind and you have a seller that needs to get out for some reason, this is a ready, available option, and I'm here to work with you anytime you got a situation.
Okay. I have a
And-
second property that I might have a question on as well, if we have time.
Go ahead. Make it quick. Let's go.
So this other property, it's been on the market for about 90 days as well. It clearly looked like they were trying to rehab it and then ran out of money, because the outside looks gorgeous, the inside's gutted. So it's halfway remodeled, they did the demo, but they didn't do anything else. And it's been on the market for a while. It's right down the street from my house. And I was kind of wondering what would be the best position to put myself there.
Is there a hard money loan on it?
No, they own it outright. They've owned it since like 2007 for like $57,000. And so they own it outright. It would be like great seller finance, I think.
Or innovation. If
Is
there's
it talks, yeah, possibly seller finance deal? Usually when people tear houses apart and then stop the project, it's because they've screwed up.
or they find something, they're like, oh no.
Yeah, that's a possibility. There's a surprise in there. Like
Yeah.
a problem with the foundation or something that they're afraid to deal with. Did they gut it? Did they take the sheetrock off the walls?
Yeah. It's
How
all
old is the
already-
house? How old is the house?
Give me 2 seconds. I can look it up.
Because, one of the things I see with people who don't know what they're doing with remodels is they tear out too much of the house and create more of a project than there needed to be.
Mhm.
Yep. Just
Especially
remember-
if it was built in the 70s or later and they've taken all the sheetrock out, it usually means that they've just gone too far. And
Yeah,
now nobody
one
wants
is,
to spend the money to put it all back together.
This was built in 1900, so it's
Oh,
123
okay,
years old.
so, well, all right, 1900,
that's kinda
it's
known
likely
for
to
this
have a
area.
brick, it's likely to have a brick foundation and it's likely to have foundation problems. If, 125-year-old homes. So that's why they gutted it, but it's probably a bigger project than they anticipated. Something came up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's foundation. Because between the late 1800s to the early 1900s, they used brick for foundations and they crumble after a while. So they require, I used to do 1800s buildings. I've taken them down to sticks, peeled off the skin on the outside, all the inside, cribbed them up, put a new foundation under them. So that's a big project, and that's so fine. In this case, that would be the bunnies, and depending on how much the cost of it to rehab versus what it could be worth, it may be one of those projects that's just not salvageable.
So what I'm hearing also, and guys, if you're listening right now, I want you to get something to either write with or take a note on your computer, because what I'm about to say is extremely important. And I still have to remind my team members that are making money. Okay. 4 things. The first thing is condition. And this is the exact order that you should be going in. Condition. Can you tell me a little bit about the property? Are there any foundation issues or roof issues? The next one is motivation. This is the most important one. And it's weird to ask if you ask it the wrong way. And an agent and a seller will go tell you to kick rocks if you don't ask it the right way. This is how I typically ask it. I'm just curious. Or I say, this is an interesting house. I'm just curious. Why are you selling? Or I'm just curious. Do you know why they're selling? You say it like that. This is an interesting house. I'm just curious. Why are they selling? That is your motivation. If you don't have motivation, the most important pillar, you have nothing. You do not have a qualified lead. Why? Because that tells you your exit strategy. Super important, guys. The next one is obvious. You can just ask timeline when you want to close escrow. And the last one is price. Are you firm on that number? Because if they say yes, then next. If they say maybe there's room, then great, we can talk. Those are, if you guys don't have those 4 things, you don't have anything. Okay. And so again, Brendan, with what I'm hearing, you're asking is, what should I go after this thing? What should I do? I need the motivation. I need exactly what's going on, because the motivation with opportunity number 2 is, what did they find? Why did they run out of money? How do they not have more money? What's going on there? Because maybe you'll start to do the math and it just doesn't pencil.
So one of the ways you can remember the 4 pillars, or for me, I like mnemonics. Like for me, I call it TCOMP, TCMP. And I know the O is just there to make it pronounceable, but can you remember TCOMP? TCMP, TCOMP, TCMP, just drill that into your brain. Don't forget to hit your pillars. So
I personally, yes, what he's saying, that's perfect. I like to go in the order of condition, motivation, because condition to motivation really flows well. And
hey, look, the way you say it in conversation, I'm just telling you how to remember it.
right. No, I agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
When
But I'm
you
telling
use
them
a
the order,
mnemonic
that's-
to remember it, a little, what's an acronym that you
100%.
pronounce.
Really important, guys.
And in the flow of the conversation, the most important thing you need to know is the condition. And the motivation, condition and motivation. Motivation probably trumps everything ultimately.
It does 100%. Yeah, it does.
And
All right.
everybody can flow their conversations with the sellers and the agents differently.
Brandon, thank you for changing your name and thanks for hanging out with us, bro.
Hey, Brandon, you should be a sub 2 member. I think 1% of all sub 2 members are named Brandon.
Really?
Seriously, I couldn't believe how many. I think we've got a couple hundred of them. A couple hundred people with either DON, DEN, some permutation of that.
I'll put in my last name, but nobody can pronounce it, so it's just
Well, then you should put your initial in the Zoom so people can distinguish you from 200 other Brandons. Okay.
gotcha. Can do.
I think Chris is up next. Yeah.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. This is more of a general question. And the question is to be a realtor or not to be. And I say that because my license, I can go get it back really quick. I probably also reciprocate in Georgia. One of the areas I was thinking about in North Carolina. But in the past, I've bought a sub 2 deal, total 100% seller financed. And I found that through the MLS. I have no problem cold calling people. We've also used our county clerk's office here to find list pendants. I'm not sure if that's the same term you guys use in other states.
Notice of default. Yeah.
Okay. And then the biggest thing, I know there's agency issues like disclosing who you are. Am I a realtor? So I guess overall, I think it might be a good idea, but what do you guys think?
That's so
Well,
funny that we just covered this in another Zoom, but go ahead, Gary. I'll let you
I'm
take
sorry.
over.
I missed that.
No, that's okay.
What Zoom did we cover? Was that covered in?
The sales Zoom, we talked about it in the beginning of the sales Zoom.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to flip that back around on you. Why did you let the license lapse?
I would call it lack of focus. My cousin told me the only reason why I'm not 100 times more advanced to where I am, because I don't focus. So I kind of tend to get bored with things. I've owned a car lot, an insurance agency. I've done a lot, but now I've settled. Well, crypto is still a big thing with me, and I decided to get back into real estate and try to leave a legacy for my family.
All right. Well, there's a difference between shiny object syndrome
Oh, I know.
and being legitimately ADD or ADHD.
I think it's
And,
shiny
shiny object syndrome definitely is about self-discipline.
right.
If you're legitimately ADHD or something like that, then there are therapeutics for that, So there can be an advantage and disadvantages to having a license.
Okay.
So I am very committed to a high ethical standard because I decided to have the license. So things I won't do that some real estate agents will do, I will not be a principal and an agent on a deal. If there's a conflict of interest,
Dual agency.
I'm not going to do it. Same thing with double ending or dual agency. I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't care if it means double the commission. It doesn't matter to me. If I have a listing and I also find the buyer, I will give that money back to my seller. In fact, for a while, my last listing, I looked like I had the buyer, and the seller was like, she was a former broker, she was an elderly woman. No, you deserve the whole company. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I don't feel it's right. And you're struggling to make ends meet. She's late 70s, and I'm like, no, that's your money. It's not my money.
Okay, so the other question though, within that is the lead source. Like I said, I live here in New York and Rockland County. We can just go to our county clerk's office, find list pendants, nothing special. But the MLS does have all the expireds in the world, and ours even show if there is any seller financing. We have a box, and I don't know if that's around the rest of the country, where to give you that information. Or, well, let's just put it, as a realtor, is that a great advantage, or would you say no?
I like the MLS. I subscribe to 3 of them. That's how much I like the MLS. I cover the whole freaking state.
Yeah.
So Yeah, there's advantages to that. I don't mind the expireds, but I don't know, do some of the syndicators show the seller may carry?
It depends on the MLS. Actually.
What's that?
It depends on the MLS. I think SoCal and NorCal are different.
Yeah, but no, that is an option that is in almost every MLS, the seller may carry, or a seller will carry. So that's usually in the terms. My question to you, Patrick, is because you are way more skillful and experienced than I am with the syndicators like Compass and Redfin and all of those. Have you seen that in any of the listings on those sites?
They might be a keyword in the listing, but from my experience, if they're offering seller finance, the terms are usually pretty horrible.
Well, my experience, a lot of them are, well, they'll take a second.
Yeah. So Chris, here's by the way, guys, if you're listening to this in the chat, I just posted a video of another another Zoom that we talked about this in detail. But from my perspective, I always ask myself and other entrepreneurs, for what purpose, right? The fact that you're like, I have trouble focusing on one thing. I don't hear you've got trouble focusing. I hear you're an actual entrepreneur. The difference between successful entrepreneurs and those that aren't are their ability to take that drive to want to start a million projects and focus them all that energy into one thing, right? So do you want to be an agent, or do you want to be an investor? Or do you want to be an investor agent? Right? Because Gary is an investor agent. He's in the top of his brokerage right now, but he's focused primarily on one thing. It's doing business with people like me and people like you, right? So, or do you want to represent buyers and sellers? Then focus on that, right? So for me, I think it's interesting. I'm an analytical dude. I like to learn. So I'm very tempted to get my license, but at the same time, I'm at 6 figures for last quarter. Like I'm projected to make that much this quarter. Why is it slow down? You know what I mean? To do that. So for me, I have access to the MLS. You know why? Because Gary's like my best friend.
Yeah.
I pull listings up for him all the time. We do deals together. So yeah, all you need is friends, which you already have probably, right?
Yeah.
Pull that stuff for you.
Yeah. So it's like, for what purpose is what the real question that you have to ask yourself. And you got to be honest, and you got to be ruthless with yourself. Why do you want to do it? Does it fit your goal? And be yes or no. There's no maybe. And then you focus on what you want to do and you give it your all. Right.
And for me, I guess it's more so the lead source. I know there's other leads out there, like you say, but again, it just gives you such a lead source. And I think that would be the only advantage.
Make friends with an agent. Nothing will beat the MLS. In fact, when it comes to me targeting creative, what I do is, and I got this idea from Gary because he has such a huge brain. We take data from the MLS, we take those parcel numbers, and then we plug it into programs like PropStream that has horrible MLS data, but great mortgage and transaction history, right? Great public record data. So we take the MLS data, we feed it into the public record, and then we can see what's been on market for, more than 60 days or whatever your search criteria is, what's expired, and what does the note look like? And then we literally hyper focus on the best opportunities in those lists. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Just for creative.
Yep.
Data stacking. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does that help, Chris?
Absolutely. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep.
Jermaine, is this the same guy that we were talking to earlier?
I think
who's like,
he's back. Now he's going to get a phone call. He's going to get a phone call.
No, I'm sorry. I work in IT, so it's like.
Okay.
Are you in the support arena or?
Yes, I am. I'm on call basically like a doctor. So they.
Okay, I got it. I had a long IT career.
Oh, nice.
That's why I know how to pull data from one and import into other, do list stacking, data manipulation.
Okay, I can't remember your initial question. Can you remind us what we were talking about? It's a Jersey.
It was
property, right?
Jersey property. I will pull the link.
So you're trying to figure out what's the exit strategy on this, and you're struggling to find comps as well.
Yes.
Okay, so where are you trying to source these comps from?
Well, just off of the the public information that's available.
Where are you getting this public information from?
So Redfin, Zillow.
That link's a Redfin link. Do you want to pull it up, Patrick, and take a look at it? You're really good with Redfin. And Clifton, New Jersey, Route 46.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna have to do? Give me 1 second.
I grew up in New Jersey. I live in California, but I
Oh,
was my
nice.
old stomping grounds.
Where, Clifton? Around that area?
There's a aquarium store I used to go to a lot there. I don't know if it's still there
Oh, okay.
on Route 46. I was an avid aquarist.
Nice. There's a real, actually, I think I know which one you're talking about. I believe it's still there.
Aqua World, I think it was called.
Yeah, I think it actually is still there. Like the
Where
one
it's-
that's like right next to a strip mall, I believe.
I just want to make sure I don't have any addresses that I do not want to share here, or public information that we can't share. All right, this is what we're looking at.
Yes, that is it.
As a reminder, guys, if we find out that you're going around Jermaine on this deal, you will be banned. Okay. We're here to create a strong community and work together. If you want to go after this deal, hit him up and JV with him. All right. So do we know anything? What do we know about this property?
I know that it's in pre-foreclosure, or well, it's in the process of foreclosure. They haven't actually done any bankruptcies. They haven't done any of those steps yet. And I believe they also haven't done the 30-day. I guess you can delay it at the courthouse, I believe. They haven't used any of those.
I know California very well. I don't know New Jersey, so I don't know how it works there.
Yeah,
But
I believe
okay,
it's 2.
Well, why don't you see if you can comp it? That's what he said he's having problems with.
got it. Let's take a look inside of prop stream real fast. See
That's
what we
where
got.
that's where I was going. But since you're going there, I won't.
Oh my God, am I for real right now? I need to redo my setup. I'm like having trouble right now.
Were you not prepared for this meeting, Patrick?
You know what's funny is I feel like every time I come into these meetings, I've got plenty of time and then something pops up and then I'm like scrambling.
Yeah, I reconfigure my browser before we start the meeting. Close a bunch of unnecessary tabs.
I'm literally working off my laptop and it's so annoying. Okay. I just want to see what the note looks like. This is PropStream, by the way, guys. This is what we use on our team to take a look at mortgage transaction history. It looks like there's 2 notes here. Both are FHAs. Both are way over what I would want to assume. And the note, it says 289. Estimated value is 435. Estimated value inside of PropStream is typically very bad. It's not super accurate. But we can look at comps and see if there's any thing in the area. And you're right, very low activity, at least on public record. So this is a, do you know what
What does Redfin say? How many bedrooms are in it?
It
Do
doesn't.
you still have that open? Do you know, Jermaine, bedroom count?
No.
Beds-
No clue. I tried to figure it out through Zillow. I couldn't find any information there and nothing on Redfin.
Well,
And I
those houses are all kind of alike.
So that would be a question, like why I'm not seeing any bed bath count on public record. Can you tell me more about that? That would be a question that I would ask the realtor. But first
It's
and
not on
foremost,
market. Doesn't appear to be on market.
Yeah, this is an on-market deal.
oh, you said on market or off market?
Off market.
So,
Yeah, I found this through the foreclosure.
Okay.
so 1281 square feet versus 15. So why don't we comp it as a 2 or 3-2, 2-2 or 3-2?
Yeah. Let's see what pops up on Redfin. So is there Doesn't look like there's a garage here. Do you know if there's a garage?
Might be in, it's gonna be in the back of the house,
Yeah.
if there is one.
It looks like that's it. Okay.
Let's look at that side view. That's a pretty substantial house. I'm gonna be, it looks like a garage in the back there, yeah.
Yeah.
Just funny
Before
that.
you, I have
So,
a question. How did you, all right, without PropStream, am I able to find the FHA loans like you did without PropStream?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
You would need to have a connection with a title company in your state or a national title company to be able to view that. Let me see. I don't know. I don't use Privy. I just started using Privy. Let me see if I
Jermaine, I have a question. What would you want to do with something like this? Are you looking to, what are you looking at when you're looking at a foreclosure?
Well, what are you gonna say, Patrick?
is that a question for me or for him?
Well, I was just asking anybody, because I mean, there's a ton of them, right? So you're looking at this particular house for what reason? Or what is your strategy on this one? This is just me
The
trying to.
exit strategy?
Any,
You're
yeah,
Yeah. What's the exit strategy? Well, I think he's thinking wholesale. Is that correct?
Not anymore after after what we spoke about earlier. And now that I see that second FHA, I don't think would even be possible.
So yeah, typically when I'm purchasing my properties, like I'm not purchasing anything over, I'm not assuming anything over 5%. But I also don't underwrite in New Jersey, so I'd have to take another look at it. But I can tell you that, and I'm only
Well,
seeing.
we also don't, those are estimates. They're not always right. Sometimes the rates are lower, sometimes they're higher. They're just estimates based on when the loan was originated. But we can see a range of values here from the mid threes. So have you talked to the owner, Jermaine? Do you know anything about the condition?
I tried to cold call them. I didn't get an answer. I didn't get anything. I even tried to skip trace relatives and I didn't get anything. So now I'm gonna go door knock.
Yeah.
That's a real successful way to do foreclosures.
Yeah. So this is tough because we don't really truly know the bed and bath count. It does have a very large lot. So generally speaking, you're gonna be adjusting your numbers $3 to $5 a square foot for the lot. But what I'm really looking at is proximity for comps. For whatever reason, I'm not seeing a lot of activity here. So we're located here. And we've got these three comps. So this is a public record sale. This is a cash sale, and this is new construction. So we really don't have a lot to go by.
What did number one sell for?
Yeah, number one sold for $525, and it's a 1920 build, which is in the plus or minus 10-year time frame. And then we're plus or minus 200 square feet, which is what we want for our footprint. So assuming that this is a 4.2, 20 James Clifton is probably your closest comp. Now,
Let's look at the details to see if that was a flip. Because we don't know when it was.
I'm going to do it the quicker way, which is just
when it was last sold.
I'm going to look at I'm just going to do a visual audit real quick. So I'm not seeing anything here.
Sold on 20. Yeah, it was sold 12/6/22.
Okay, cool. So two other great sites, guys, are compass.com.
Yeah, Compass usually has the photos.
Make sure that you give them your email address because they won't give it to you unless you do. This one has one. Another great site is realtor.com if you can't find them there.
And of course, the best is the MLS.
And no pictures. So going off of public record, if we look at the details, like Gary just indicated, you can see
was sold 11/30/2022, but was there, what was the transaction before that? Anything?
I'm not
It's all the way
saying
back to 2008. So, yeah, we really can't see the condition. But assuming that it's in decent shape, the house should be worth 5.25. Similar, or in that a little over 5, between 5 and 5.25 if it's short a bedroom.
Yeah. So what you would want to do, if let's just say this hypothetically is your ARV, you first of all, you want to, number one, you want to what we're typically looking for is a retail ready comp, because you're the person that you're going to wholesale this to, essentially that's what they're doing, right? They're going to fix it and then they're going to flip it. So that's what we're looking for. So that all being said, if we're at 525, you want to know what your closing costs are plus agent fees, right? So in California, generally what I do with holding, closing fees, and agent fees is I'm at like 7%. And then I also,
No agent, how much you allowing for the agent?
what?
This is off market, remember that.
Oh, well, they're going to be selling with an agent, right?
No? Oh, you mean resale?
Resell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let me start over. Gary's here to antagonize me, guys, and remind me why we're friends. So if we're at 525 in California, generally what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 5% for agent fees, and then another 2% for like holding and closing and other fees, right? So we're at 7%. Then we want to net 10%, so that we want to actually have 10% profit. So that puts us at 83%. Okay. So this, again, this is just California. This is how I run my California numbers. So if I'm at 525, that's the true ARV. Again, it's hypothetical. I'm timesing that by 83%. I'm now at 435. Okay. And I haven't spent any money on reno yet. All right. So we're at 435. Now in California, it depends on the market price, how much money per square foot you're spending for a renovation. But if I'm at this price point, generally speaking, I'm probably going to be spending about $60 a square foot. Okay. So I'm at 15, 16 a square foot.
Well, this is not the house.
This is not the right one. Sorry. Thank you. So we're at 12.
I'm just here to antagonize you. That's it.
Just here to antagonize me.
Keep you on the right track.
So at 1281 times $60 a square foot, that's $76,000. Okay, just over $76,000. So we're going to subtract that. So we're at 525. What did I say? 76? So 525 times 83, we're at 435 minus the 76. I'm at $360,000, and I have not put an assignment fee on that yet either. This is why I wanted my whiteboard today. So if we're at 360, I'm going to probably want 3 points on that. So about 9,000, we'll call it 10. So my maximal allowable offer is like 349.
And this one, I don't know why we have two buyers, but the 20, is this the wrong one? Where's the subject property?
Here.
This one. All right, so let's look at the mortgage transaction history. So do we think both of these are outstanding?
What do you mean, the loans?
Yeah, so we're looking at, what was your MAO?
Oh, good point. We're at 349 and they owe 289.
Right, so there's possibility to make a deal here.
Yeah, they'll still walk away with a nice little chunk of change.
A little
Well,
something,
actually,
something.
On the site, the approximate upset, and I'll put it inside the chat, is
Well, yeah, what's owed? What's the
there it goes.
reinstatement?
Yeah,
Approximate
449.
upset.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Not a deal.
not a
Well,
deal. Unless you find somebody who wants to live in it and they'll assume that loan.
Well, this might be something worth pursuing a short sale, but they're a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Because banks don't feel any pain. There's no bunnies with the banks. The banks don't keep bunnies.
They're heartless robots.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I actually learned a lot from this. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. So
What we're
again,
here for.
guys, I know that was a lot of numbers. I know not everybody is strong at math. And to be honest, I don't think I'm the strongest at math either. But again, let me give you just some basic calculations. So your ARV, your after repair value, what we think, let's see, where did it go?
Well, actually, why don't we, that's a good segue into the underwriting, don't you think?
Yes. Are you going to share your screen?
Yeah, I didn't want to do it without you, knowing it was coming.
I love that. Thank you. You're saving me from jumping around the screens with my setup that isn't set up correctly.
Why did you do a $60? I was looking at Pace. He said it was $60 for a total gut and a $40 per foot for a basic. So why did you go with the $60 a foot for the reno?
I'll tell you what, I'm never going to argue with Pace, but here's what I will tell you. What you should do, if you're going to really do this the right way, is you should call around in your state, in your specific area, and get quotes. Like, how much would this job cost? And tell them, look, I need a simple calculation. I need to know how much money per square foot I'm going to generally have to spend. And if you have a homogeneous number that pops up, or an average number that pops up in that area, you know what contractors are charging for jobs.
Is these licensed or handyman?
I mean, I would go with real contractors. Yeah. And so, like, to give you an example, like I purchased a property sub 2 in Sacramento, right? And the purchase price was like around like $320, $350. I don't know how, I can't remember the purchase price. I actually purchased the property, but I spent to get it rent ready, and it's super, super clean, $30 a square foot. But the price point dictates how much money you're actually going to be spending, right? Like, are you going to be spending $80 a square foot on a $300,000 house? No. But if you have $1 million home, are you going to be using the best finishes that you possibly have to flip it? 100%. So there is no like black and white, this is the number that you're using, this is a full gut versus whatever. You got to know each area, because each area is different. I'm in the Bay Area in San Francisco. You better believe that renovation in this area costs way more than like Florida, right? And like Tampa area, right? So it's different, or New Jersey for that matter. All right, you're on, Gary. Blow their minds.
Well, what we were just doing is exactly what we're intended to talk about today, is underwriting. So
100%.
in order to be a good wholesaler, you need to understand how you calculate maximum allowable offer, MAO.
Okay. Let me give you those numbers. Let me give you the numbers that we just had. So the ARV is 525.
5.25.
The reno is going to be, oh wait, $76,000. So, guys, when I'm doing my fee, my assignment fee, this is how I calculate it. Okay. If it's like $500,000 and below, actually, no, that's not true. If it's like, I would say if it's like 800,000 and below, I'm charging on points, which means I'm going to charge 3 points of the sales price. So if our, our MAO is whatever, around 290. Okay. Let's just put that in for, actually say $10,000 real fast.
You want to do 10 instead of 15?
Do $10,000.
We'll do an elephant challenge number.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll burden the deal, right? Because it's
right.
Okay. So credit to buyer, rarely are you going to use that. And so a wholesale discount, remember what we said, this, if this doesn't make sense, please ask a question and I can explain it. But the flipper wants to make 10%, anywhere from 7 to 10%. And our closing agent fees and holding is going to equate to 7%. So that puts us at 83% wholesale discount. So let's put in 83% here. And again, you need to know your agent fees and your closing costs where you're working. All right, so now we're at an MAO, a maximal allowable offer wholesale deal at 349. That's the number I came up with, wasn't it?
Yep. Well,
Perfect.
we just did the math exactly how you
Yeah.
described it. I would probably go a little lower, but on the discount.
Right. So now back to the wholesale fee. Usually at the 349, what I'm doing is I'm charging 3 points or 3% of that number, which equates to about $9,000. I would round up to 10. Now, if it's $1 million property, which we deal a lot with in California, it depends on the spread. I've had $65,000 assignments. We have one that we're going to be double closing. That's a 6-figure deal. So it depends, guys. Like, it depends. You have to know your numbers. You got to know what buyers are purchasing at in specific areas. And you can find all that in public record. By the way, this can be, you can get access to this in the drive that I created. I'll link it in the chat in a moment.
Do you have the link to the original?
I'll just give them the baby elephant folder.
Okay. Yeah, you're only seeing a little corner of this calculator. So what I'd like to do is show you how these numbers work with a flip when we get to the flip. So I'm going to come down to flip dispo. You can see the 5 1/4 is already populated. The 760,000 is already populated. The purchase price, let's say 349, but the wholesaler is going to sell it to me for 359. So let's just say 360. I'm going to plug that in here. So I want you to see how this works at the end. So right now I've got an $89,000 net profit, but that's going to get eaten up pretty quickly. So how am I going to finance this? Well, I'm going to have to get 80%. I'm going to finance 80% of the acquisition cost. So, yeah, I like to use round numbers to make this easier, but 360. So 288, my hard money loan. So I'm going to get a hard money loan for 288 plus 100% of this. So my hard money loan is going to be 300 plus 76. I don't trust my brain this late in the day. All right. What's wrong with me? Can't be trusted with a calc. I multiplied it here. 288 plus 76. 364 is going to be my hard money loan. So I'm going to do, let's just put it in this one, 364,000. I'm going to pay 10% interest on that. It's going to be interest only, not amortized. And I don't care about my start date. I'm going to pay 2 points, and I'm going to have a funding garbage fee of $1,500. I'm going to add that in here. So my carrying cost is going to be $3,000. On top of that, I'm going to have to pay property taxes. Let's say I've got $500 a month. Property taxes. My insurance is going to be $150. Actually, it's going to be more like $200 because I'm going to get builder's risk, which costs a little more. And maybe I've got an HOA fee of $100. So, and I'm definitely going to need $75 a month for electricity, water. It's really not expensive to carry, you know, the utilities, if you're not living there and you're just running tools all day during the cheapest time of the electricity consumption, it doesn't run up a lot.
Your property
So-
taxes, I think your property taxes would be half of that, wouldn't they?
Well,
The purchase prices in their MAO is 290
it's
something.
going to be, well, in California, okay, my acquisition cost for the interim.
Yeah, I think you're going off of
uh,
flip cost.
43 divided by 12,
do
it's going to be
250
365 a month
Okay.
for property taxes. If this were California, that's what it would be. So I'm at 3770. Now, how long is it going to take me to rehab this? Let me put in 5 months. So that's going to show my carry cost is 18,866. My entry fees, I'm going to have, I'm going to say my closing costs are going to be 6,000. That's on my buy side. Look at that money get eaten up pretty quickly, huh? Now, if I'm going to sell it for 5.25, and I'm going to put in a $5,000 contingency here, so I've got some oh shit money. And resale closing costs, well, I could be on the hook for 25,000 if I pay 5% in real estate commissions. If I stage it, I could spend another 4,000 for a light staging. I'm down to 21,353. I'm not going to do this deal. Doesn't work for me.
You got to pay cash.
Well, but I'm not going to take cash and put it into my deal for free. What if I have a partner?
Right. You're paying
Right.
points for sure.
Where does that, if I take it out of a high yield investment, I still got to charge the deal 5 or 6%. And that's another point. I still have to put cash into this deal. I've only got 364. I need 86,000 in cash, plus I need another 40,000-50,000 to cash flow.
Right.
So my real cash requirement is about 135,000 or 133,000, let's say. So that gives me my 46,000 to cash flow. Is this deal worth it to me? No.
No.
So that's why I've got to look at more like 73%. I need to buy this more at like 300 to make this work. Or let's say, let's put 75%.
And so for those of you watching,
So that's 307 plus 10, 317. So if I change my price to 317,000. Now my profit's back to about 10% I want to make. But I wanted to show this to you so you understand what your buyer is dealing with. You're the wholesaler, your buyers can, and especially with these high interest rates. Now 2 years ago, I was getting 6% hard money. Now 10% is going to be, I'm going to get that only because I have experience in a relationship with my hard money lender. I could be paying 12%. Watch what happens if I have to pay 12.5%. My carry cost goes way up. That's why I built this calculator, but this is what I wanted to show you guys today. Because you're doing this as the wholesaler, but your buyer has got to look at this. So maybe I can shave a couple months of carry cost here. Look at the difference that makes. That adds 10. So, when I'm negotiating on the buy price, they say, okay, I think I can give you 330 for this. You got to get it to me for 330. And I'm at my 10% number. Or I got to look at it, if I can't get it for a better price, then I've got to negotiate with the wholesaler that I'm buying from, Patrick, and say, Patrick, you're killing me. I need this lower. You got to get this price down for me because in at 5.25 for this property, I can't get my repair costs down any lower than this.
And you know what I'm going to say, guys? I'm sorry, Gary. We have bids from cash buyers and they're ready to go this week. So guys, one thing I wanted to say is that like most of our, like, so in our business, most of our buyers are cash buyers. And so this is something that we learned early. Well, it took us
But
a while.
are those cash buyers not financing afterwards?
I don't know.
I got
I mean,
cash buyers that end up putting loans on them.
Maybe,
before they
but I can
close
tell-
even. You know, if I got free money,
I can
yeah,
tell you
so
this.
it's a whole lot
Our
better.
cash buyers, the ones that are closing quick with cash, they are way more competitive with their bids. They're able to get in tighter margins. So, I mean, I have a cash buyer in San Jose. In 1 month, he bought $2 million properties for his cash. And he's just like, he's ready to go. So hard money, we do have buyers who've used it, because I know, because I hear from escrow that they're going through the loan process and we got to send out people to notarize and so on and so forth. But it's cash buyers are just, they're stronger buyers. They're just, you know, that's it, because they can be more competitive with their numbers. They can close faster. So those of you who are trying to do wholesale cash deals, I would mainly try to create strong relationships with those types of buyers.
What is this?
not
What
gonna
is
have
this telling you, everybody? The buyer is king in this formula.
for sure. 100%.
Upgrade your buyers. Find the right buyers. It's more important for you to find buyers if you're going to run your own wholesale business than it is to find properties. And how long did I have to bang that into Patrick's brain when
Way
we
too-
first met?
Way
Because
too
he
long.
was so focused on getting the properties under contract. Like, it's the buyers.
Yeah, I've got a full-time disposition manager, guys. That's all he does. So it's extremely important.
So my goal here was to show you the relationship of what you're doing on the front end to get the deal to what the flipper's got to go through to finance and carry and manage the deal. And if you're going to spend months on a project and only make 20 grand, it's not worth it.
Right.
I can do that being a real estate agent and not have to go, you know, risk money and show up at a job site every day to make sure things are going right. It's flipping is a lot of flipping work.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is that, like, I think it's from my perspective, as somebody who started out literally just a year ago and now we have a 6-figure business, close to 7, is that our perception was like, we don't have a lot of money, so why don't we go after like the low price points? And now that we're operating, we look at lower price points and we immediately disqualify them. They could be an opportunity for us. They can actually be a real opportunity, but because of the price point, we disqualify. Because if I'm charging on points and I'm charging, whatever, 3 points, and I've got whatever, $250K purchase price, and I'm making $6,000, whatever, $7,000. I could spend the same time and energy on $1 million price point, and I could be charging anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 and put the same amount of work. And actually, I could argue with you that you will spend more time and energy on lower price points. Why? Because sellers who are selling lower price points, every penny stings way more to negotiate under their ask than it would on a larger margin, right? I've negotiated hundreds of thousands of dollars off of $1 million properties because they're higher price points. You're not going to do that with a $200,000, $300,000 purchase. Does that make sense, guys? In the chat, let me know if that's making sense.
Anybody with questions about this?
Yeah, just a quick question. Would you show this information, maybe not all of it, to a potential buyer, or especially if you have buyers that you're doing repeat business with? Would you show them how you derive that number?
Well,
If they
I
care.
I would definitely share that with my the wholesalers that I'm trying to
Well,
sell.
that's what I meant. Yeah, the
properties.
wholesalers. Okay.
Yeah,
Wholesale.
I would definitely share that as a flipper because I want them to understand what I'm up against.
I'll tell you right now, guys, like I deal a lot with agents, like primarily I deal with agents. And I'll tell you from experience, I've had hundreds of conversations at this point with agents. And like we're having like probably on average about 120 conversations a day. Okay. And I would say that about 5% of agents understand what you guys just watched. Probably lower than
Lower,
that.
I would think lower.
Yeah, it's
And,
probably
yeah.
lower. I'd probably say like 2%. Okay. So what you just witnessed, and some of you might still not fully understand what he just showed you. That's okay. The calculator on the top left, most agents don't understand that. Right. And so it's really important that you can fully explain this and articulate it in a way that's palatable, digestible for somebody so that you can create a relationship with them. Because if you don't, and if you lack that skill, what's going to happen is they're going to say, why are you giving me lowball offers? Right. And you need to be able to say, well, look, I know that you want to sell this property. Are you willing to work with an investor? And they're going to say, of course I am. And then you say, well, the reason that I ask is that I have to make a profit. My financial target is anywhere from 7 to 10%. Is that okay with you? And they're going to say, well, okay, great. So let me show you the numbers, right? And then you got to be able to break it down. Negotiation is not convincing somebody of something. Negotiation is helping somebody overcome an obstacle and using the tools that you have at your disposal to do so. And you have to be able to first create a level playing ground of context. You said you wanted to sell your property. You said you're willing to sell to an investor, and you said you'd allow me to get 7 to 10%. All of those things are true. Let me show you how it works on paper. And that is a high level negotiator. And if you can learn how to do that, I will hire your ass and you will make a lot of money and you will quit your W-2.
So we got a lot of questions in the chat, guys. It's kind of hard to come up and do some FaceTime with us if you want us to keep answering questions.
I saw James put some devil horns up there. He's got some good energy. What's up, dude? Got a thumbs up? I'll take it.
Everybody knows that the link that Patrick shared is has got the link to the calculator.
Yeah. Okay, guys, any questions? Remember, you guys have to come in here with the end in mind. We love hanging out with you, laughing, having a good time, but that's not actually what this is about. This is about helping you guys get closer to getting your first deal and or your next deal, and then joint venturing with us if at all possible.
Does the calculator not in your share? Because they're saying there's no calculator. Here, I'll give you here, let me. Now, guys, well, I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to give you a link to this.
It's in there. It's in there. Guys, it's in a folder. It says underwriting deals. Click on that and that'll open it up. There's directions in there, two big emoji stop signs. Stop and read what that says. And then you'll have a calculator. All right. All right, guys, are you guys tired? Or did Gary melt your mind? Did he I'm not seeing any.
I mean, my question would be just looking if you were doing a wholesale deal, where's the best place when you're starting out to look for cash buyers? Where's the playing ground for them?
That's a fantastic question. Okay. So I have a preferred method and it's Privy. Privy's great when it comes to calculating flips and showing you the LLC. So basically what we'll do is we'll pull a sheet, right, in the area that we're working, and we get pinpoint specific. And
So
again,
you're looking for investors. So it's kind of like a list source where you would go pull up where you would see the most action for investors. Is that what you're talking about? Is that a cash buyer?
Demo it, show them, Patrick. Don't tell them, show them.
100%.
You got Privy open and
Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you. I want to make sure I understand this.
PropStream also has a filter called flippers. You can just click on that filter and it'll show you in any geography that you specify where the flippers are. What are the flips? But you,
And so that's the most concentration then is what you're looking at, right?
No, I mean, we're trying not to work in areas that don't have high volume, right?
Okay, because that's why I was wondering about that deal. That's why I asked about that other guy's deal. That didn't seem like there was a lot of action there. Like
Yeah,
there
if
was
there's
like,
no liquidity, I'm not interested. right?
Okay.
Oh man, my whole setup here is so frustrating me right now.
This is
Where are you working?
who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I'm in Ventura. I mean, I'm in Ventura County. I keep looking at I keep looking at Ventura City. That's like my sweet spot. And then there's Simi Valley, which by the way, that they're not holding its value. Ventura does. So I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's where I'm looking at is Ventura.
I think
Wh-
you've got what you need in between your ears to figure it out. So it doesn't matter if you know.
I don't know.
well, he's looking at Los Angeles right now. Ventura is the county next door to the west.
Yeah, so Thousand Oaks, Westlake, it's really saturated with but I was looking at more like Ventura. So like
So if I
ninth-
saturated is good.
okay.
Saturated, I love when people say there's too much competition. I'm like,
No,
are
I
you
don't care about
kidding?
that.
That's good for the wholesaler.
Yeah, I love competition. Yeah, put me into a Shark Tank and I'm gonna come out rich. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm in LA. I clicked on fix and flip, and then I'll export this. I'll download it. What it's going to give me is a list of LLCs. Once I have those LLCs, I'm just going to go to open corporates. And there's also like skip tracing services and stuff like that. But this is literally what we do.
Okay.
And then once I open this, I can look up an LLC and I'm looking for the agent name. And then this is called deep prospecting, excuse me, right? You're searching for who owns the LLC. And we're basically what we do first is two things. One is proximity. Did they flip in the general area that we have something under contract? And two is volume. Are they a high volume player? Did they do multiple flips in the last 12 months? Those are the two criteria that we're filtering by first in our list. Let's say we have 100 people. We're calling the first 10 or 20 that have multiple projects and they're in the area that we're selling. Because why? They're probably cash buyers. And if they're doing multiple opportunities, multiple flips in a short amount of time, what does that mean? That means they probably have thinner margins because they're doing volume, which means
Okay.
what? They're a more competitive bidder, right? They're a stronger buyer for us. So, and once you perform with one buyer, trust me, they're going to become your best friend. And you get another deal and you're like, hey, I got something else that you're looking for. And you can trust the fact that they're going to perform. That's the best feeling in the world. One of the best feelings in the world, I should say.
Okay, those of
paid
you
his
asking for Patrick's contact, I put his email address in the chat.
Gary
Show him some love.
Gary one time gave my phone number away in a Zoom. And I swear to God, in like a 3-day span of time, I had hundreds of text messages from people. And what I did not know, unbeknownst to me, he posted the recording in a Discord. So not only did everybody in that meeting get my number, but everybody in the Discord got my number as well. And I had to beg him to take it down. It was pretty funny. Funny now, it wasn't funny.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I did that?
Yes.
Me?
Yes. I had like 20 people that are like, please let me join your team. And I was like, I can't handle all these people. But it was pretty funny. Anyways, questions, guys. We've got a few more minutes here.
Hey, there's a reason not to be a realtor. If you don't every time I do a listing and close a deal, boom, it's like spam explodes into my phone and in my email.
Oksana, if I give you my number and you text me, I might get in trouble with my girlfriend. Hit me up on Circle. Just hit me up on Circle and I swear I will answer you guys, okay? Rob, is this Discord open to us? So in the beginning of the Elephant Challenge, Rob, we were using Discord and not Circle. So now we're on Circle. But if you guys notice, I have a profile on Circle, you guys can message me there. Okay. And again, like I mentioned, I will have a form for you guys to submit deals to us so that we have a more organized way of qualifying and then tracking the opportunities through the pipeline. I'm also going to be setting up a pipeline that will automatically message you guys in each stage of the process so that you can get notified where your transaction is. I
Hey,
feel like
Patrick,
Yeah.
Louise.
this is Lexley.
Can you raise, do you know how you raise your hand so we can spotlight you or pin you?
I was looking for that. I can't find it.
I've had to figure it out too.
The
It's,
reactions.
click on the reactions button and then it'll say raise hand on the bottom.
Oh, reaction.
You and I both discovered that today.
Okay, there I go.
You were today years old when you.
Today years old when we figured that out.
Okay,
What's up, dude?
well, I got some sort of good news. That property that you quickly went through last week, I put it on a contract today.
Really? Which one?
1823 19th Avenue South in St. Petersburg.
Oh, we're in Texas?
And no, in St. Petersburg.
Florida.
Oh,
Florida.
Florida. Okay. Guys, give him some love in the chat. Give
Yeah,
him some love. Dude, congrats, bro. Good for you. That's like a huge, huge milestone is getting a contract.
yes, it is.
First one, Luxley.
First one this year.
Wow.
First one this year. I like how he said that. He said that with ambition, right? Like, watch me. Like that. I like that. Okay, so what's up? How can we help you?
No, I just wanted you to know that. You give me the numbers, we worked the numbers. We came in, it was listed at 250. I offered them 190 and we settled at 200, which is about what you came in at last week.
Great.
The ARV was, I think, 346, 347.
Fantastic.
So
So
do
you're
you have it? Are you wholesaling it or are you keeping it?
I think I might keep it.
Oh, okay.
Good deal. Was it a sub two or a cash deal?
It's a cash deal.
Okay.
Nice. All right, how are you financing that?
I have a local private lender. He
Okay.
did some deals for me a couple of years ago, so I went back to him.
Love it. I might need to get that person's number. We love private money.
Yeah, he's muscling in on your funding source there, Luxley.
I have a
Put up the force field.
yeah, right.
Okay.
Trying to weasel in on your private money.
All right, Louisa
Congrats,
had
bro.
a
Good job.
question. Louisa had a question.
Lisa, what's up? I've been seeing you in a lot of
Hi,
these.
hi, Gary. Hi, Patrick. Yeah, I'm trying to be active. I want to know how you guys do because I feel like my whole process is very slow. I don't make a lot of calls every day. But now finally I got my prop stream, even got Privy and a Mojo Dollar, all things set up. But before I used to do is like, I will look in one deal, I'll do the criteria and I'll do all this research. Then I'll make a call. And I felt like this is just too slow.
It's way
I
too
just
slow.
wonder, yeah, how do you guys do it? Do you just like put a criteria in the prop stream, download it, go
What are you
to skip
targeting?
tracing? Yeah. Well, I'm targeting free foreclosure in Florida, although I'm based in California, so either those basically.
So what I would do a 2-call close and I wouldn't worry about underwriting it until you make contact.
Okay.
In other words,
so how?
you
yeah.
need to know you gotta have, remember, what do we say today? If you don't have motivation, you don't have nothing. If you don't have the 4 pillars, you don't have an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So what you got to do is you got to make contact first. With direct to seller, there's going to be a way, way lower contact rate than direct to agent. I think direct agent's like 80-85%. Direct to seller is probably like 5% lower, right? So there's going to be a lot of dialing before you actually get somebody to say hello.
Right.
So I would just focus on making contact and tell them,
Okay.
hey, I'm actually purchasing the area. When it comes to direct to seller, I don't do cold calling anymore, but when I did direct to seller cold calling, I would be very personal. Like, hey, John, I was actually just walking down Main Street and I noticed your property on 123 Main Street.
Mm.
I've just noticed it might need a little bit of love, and I was just curious, are you interested in selling? So it's a little bit more personal. It sounds like I'm in the area, like I'm actually
Yeah.
looking at the property, and it doesn't sound like every other thousands of investors that are calling them right now.
Okay. Okay.
Then you get the 4 pillars and you say, you know what? I have to meet with my team to underwrite this so we can give you a fair and true offer. And I'll call you back. When's a good time to call you back, John?
Mm.
Because they're going to press you. Will make me an offer. Sellers are the worst, by the way. Agents are a lot easier to talk to. Well, most agents, but like sellers can be really rough. Like, yeah, I'm interested in selling, make me an offer. You got to be ready for that. And you got to know what to say.
Okay, but because I try with agent, and the agent is like, they're not very open up to the seller financing or sub-to. That's why I was trying to go for pre-foreclosure, and they probably have some pain point. That's why I reach out directly to sellers.
Well, agents, I've actually had I don't know, God, I wish I had a metric for you, but I've had a pretty decent success talking with agents in creative. I think it's how you talk to these agents with creative. You gotta remember, most agents and by the way, if you're an agent in here, don't take offense to this. Most agents don't know very much. They don't know about creative. They don't know about how to work with investors. And it's not necessarily their fault. They're conditioned and trained, and they learn in the retail mindset way, right? So they only see like what they've been given, and they not a lot of them know how to think out of the box with what we're talking about, right? So number one, you have to get to the point of what's in it for me and what do you want? That's what everybody's asking you. Everybody in this meeting right now that's listening to me, they're unconsciously, their mind is asking that all the time. What's in it for me? What do you want? Right. And so you got to get to the point real quick, and you have to say, look, John, I'm calling you about your listing on 123 Main Street. Look, I've noticed that it's been on the market for 90 days. And I'm actually interested in purchasing it. And what are they used to? They're used to people working them on price. And I usually say this, well, you know what? A reason I'm calling you is I'm actually willing to give you your ask, or maybe even more. But I'm looking at this property. It looks like it has low equity, and we're looking for these types of properties. I'd love to get you paid. I'd love to pay your commission. How we typically do this is we pay out commissions, we pay closing costs, and I'll assume the loan as well as pay out any equity that your client may have. Is that something that you're open to, John?
Okay.
And I'm not asking for a yes or no. I've already addressed what I want, what's in it for them, and I presented them with a tool to get them over the obstacle that they're currently facing. Now, the next thing that I'll say to them, and this is really important, because a no could mean a lot of things. A no could mean, I don't want to look stupid in front of you. A no could mean, I have no idea what you're talking about. Right. And so what I'll tell them is, are you familiar with that type of transaction? And most of the time they're going to say no, or they'll say, I heard about it, or maybe they'll lie and say yes. And then I'll say, John, the reason that I bring that up is that I have an agent. His name's Gary, super smart dude, not as funny or good looking as I am. However, he will be more than happy to do the paperwork, and he's done a lot of these transactions. So really all you have to do is be able to convey this information to your seller. Is that something that you might be open to, John? And then there you go. You've taken the scary unknown thing out of it. You've also used kind of a third party story by telling them, I have a history of these transactions. I'm confident in closing them. So you don't have to worry. And I'm going to get you paid, John. That's how you want to address an agent.
Okay. Great. Excellent. Thank you. So probably try that route as well then.
And by the way, look, sellers and agents are going to be, it's the same process. You're going to have to go through the same objections and the same idea of, what do you want? What's in it for me?
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Okay, everybody, I think we've reached the end of our broadcast day today here. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Any last thoughts, Patrick?
I just love these people.
Yeah, it's fun. We had some fun. We're having fun every week with you guys.
Here's one thing I will say, guys. When I first started, I had very little idea of what I was doing. very little idea of what I was doing. But now I'm doing this full time. My discipline manager is going to quit their full-time job. I mean, I've got people who are walking away from W-2s on my team. And so how did I get there? It wasn't like I woke up and I was imbued with this, holy knowledge. I just made more mistakes than you guys. Right? The only difference between somebody who's extremely successful and somebody who's not is not capability. It's the amount of mistakes that they were willing to make and keep moving forward. You take action, you make a mistake, you adjust. You keep moving forward, guys. That's the one thing I want to leave you with. Don't spend all day and every day in these Zooms. Yeah, come hang out with us, take a Zoom here and there, but get on the phone. Open up PropStream, open a new account on Privy, whatever it is. Take small steps to getting towards that goal. All right, guys.
Oksana, you keep asking this question in the chat. It's okay to make offers. Go make offers. What's the worst that's going to happen? They say no. Okay. But you're not going to get to yes until you get through a whole bunch of no's. Just remember that, everyone. I'm sure Luxley didn't get to jump from right to yes. He had to go through a few deals before he got this yes this week. So make offers, go out there and make mistakes.
Yeah, I send my agent about 10 offers a week.
Okay.
for
Well,
her
10,
to
10 a week. All
send
right.
For me.
And this was the first one this year. So 10 a week, that
Yeah.
means that you made at least 260 offers, right?
Yep.
All right, everybody. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Look for an announcement for a possible new session on Mondays, Monday afternoons. So
Yes.
we all have that figured out in the next day or so. So keep your eye out for that
Yes.
if you want double the dose of Gary and Patrick. All right, take care, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Bye, guys.
bye.
Have a great day.